Lucid dreaming is not just about healing. It is about reclaiming your power. And sometimes that doesn't come from comfort, it comes from bravery. When I was a little girl, the beach was my sanctuary. I loved spending time there, collecting shells, playing in the sand, swimming in the ocean, and being free. One day, my freedom got stolen. As I looked up the hill, there was a man standing there with a towel on his head and showing me his intimate parts. So even though I grew up in a very touristic area, that was the time of the year where there wasn't many people. And that was the first day I actually chose to go alone into the beach without my brother, without anybody in my family, without any friends. So that day, we were only two people on the beach. An old lady that was getting a tan peacefully and me playing in the sand. I got really scared and I approached this old lady and gave her all my shells and I asked her to please help me out and bring me back home safely. And that wasn't the only time I saw that man. It happened often. It happened while I was with my brothers, and I remember how we would just run across the other side of the beach and take those stairs and just cross the train station and go all the way home. I remember my heart would just beat so fast, and eventually I started to get really scared to go to the beach by myself. Then it happened as well with a friend. It happened with some other member of my family where we would encounter this man, whether he was standing on the hill or walking through that tunnel that we had to cross from my home to get into the beach, which was very dark and very scary. And he would just walk towards us with a towel over his head and just truly intimidate us. So eventually what happened, I stopped going to that beach that was right next to my home. I gave up a place that used to feel mine. As an adult, I started developing this big fear of being raped or coming across men who would just deliberately show me his intimate parts. This has affected in a big way my sexuality and how I present myself to the world as a woman. It is probably a little bit scary for me to just walk into someone's house who I've never met before. So back when I started lucid dreaming, all these fears became even more intense because at that time I was living in Mexico. So I would be walking around the streets or driving across the country with my van, always with a million eyes everywhere and just being very conscious of the consequences that can happen when you come across men who maybe don't have the best intentions. And also, just as a side note, I really don't want to come across as if I am putting men down, because there are equally men and women who do such things and intimidate others that feel probably weaker. And I totally appreciate men in every single way. And this is just a story that comes from my experience. So then many years later, after all of this and accumulating all these different layers of fears around this story that began when I was 12 years old, I had this dream. And in this dream, I was right on the same beach where I grew up. I was a teenager and I was walking there with a friend. As I was walking through that tunnel, I saw him again. He had a towel over his head and he was showing us his intimate parts. My friend ran away, scared in fear like I would have many years ago. Me, instead, I realized in that moment I was dreaming. So what I did, I went straight to him and I said, "Look at you. You are embarrassing. Your dick is incredibly small. You are ashamed trying to intimidate little girls. I am not scared of you. And I walked right past him, calm, clear, and strong. I woke up feeling free, like something that had hunted me for so many years finally had loosened its grip. That's what lucid dreaming can do. It gives you the space to rewrite your own story in your terms. If you've ever felt powerless in the past, your dreams might be holding the doorway that take you back to your own power. Now, I'm actually curious, have you ever had a dream that helped you release fear? If that has been the case, write it in the comments below and share it with me. I'd love to know. And subscribe if you want to know more of these real stories and tools, because the dream world, my friend, might just become your biggest ally. See you next chapter.